Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we are going to be taking a look at Black Panther Relic and a brief breakdown, as well as best recommended champions to use for Black Panther. And Kabam is calling it the guaranteed crit relic, but basically it just helps all high crit rate champions. There are extra bonuses for guaranteed crits. So, first things first, let's jump into Striker ability, and the last hit grants you a cruelty buff, increasing your critical damage rating by 18.4% over 10 seconds. It's a decent sized cruelty, to be honest, and obviously, if you do have high crit chance and guaranteed crits, you'll get the best benefit from it. But again, you do not have to have guaranteed crits to benefit from a cruelty, obviously. Now we have innate signature ability, guaranteed critical hits grant plus 20 flat critical damage rating on critical hits for rest of the fight, max hits 48. So you can gain quite a lot of extra critical damage over the course of fight thanks to this. And this is what makes this relic, if it's awakened, extremely good for like Mole Man and Misty Knight potentially, and Hit Monkey. But obviously, if you have it awakened, that's the most important kind of thing there. And then we have this ability 1, pinpoint critical hits inflict a physical vulnerability passive, lowering physical resistance by 7.2% for 4 seconds, max stacks 3. So here again, as long as you crit frequently, this is extremely helpful to increase your damage output. And then we have anti-evade. When the opponent's evade fails to trigger, gain a cruelty passive, increasing critical damage rating by 7.2% for 4 seconds. This is much more situational, because not only you need champions where you have abilities that prevent opponents evade, and then obviously it would work only in matchups where you actually do prevent that evade. So if I have to pick pretty much every single time, I would go with a pinpoint ability here instead of anti-evade. And then maybe in some very specific challenge type of scenario, I would change it, but I don't think it's important enough. So here is definitely the pinpoint ability here. And then we have the attribute runes, where we have minus opponent critical resistance, which I think is quite awesome, especially considering with the rest of the top abilities. And that is kind of the setup, for instance, what I'm using for my Kingpin as well, because I do have 5 and 6 star Black Panther Relic. I just haven't ranked them up properly. So here it's very simple. You activate this ability 1, critical resistance, remove opponent's critical resistance, allowing, let's say, your Kingpin or whoever to crit more. And then, he's automatically going to benefit quite significantly from inflicting additional physical vulnerabilities on opponent, and thus increase his damage output by a decent margin. And then guaranteed critical hits deal a burst of 4.8% of base attack in physical damage. This one is not too bad either for Hit Monkey or Mole Man. And special 2 finisher, extra attack rating on special 2 hits. If you are using a champion that cashes in quite heavily on special 2, it can be helpful. But in most cases, if you have access to a lot of guaranteed crits, I would recommend burst physical. Otherwise, just reducing opponent's crit rate if you just have a relatively high crit rate champion. And that is pretty much it. It's a very straightforward and simple relic. It basically focuses on activating whenever you crit, and then giving you cruelty buffs, extra crit damage on guaranteed crits, lowers opponent's physical resistance, lowers opponent's crit resistance, physical burst on guaranteed crits. There is a spelling error there. Crit. And yeah, you can also get extra damage on a level 2. So the best targets for Black Panther Relic would be Mole Man, for sure, because he pretty much can spend an entire fight having guaranteed crits. Hit Monkey is a great target. This relic would be extremely helpful to Falcon as well, because whenever he's in lock-on, he crits a lot. Karnak Mantis can also benefit from this quite tremendously, having guaranteed crits on that level 2 with increased damage on her level 2. We have Shang-Chi with guaranteed crits, Misty Knight with guaranteed crits. And as I mentioned before, I also like to use this relic on Kingpin, because out of all of the skill relics, this is the one that benefits him the most and lets him crit more and do more damage even when he doesn't. So that is fairly straightforward. And overall, I would probably put this in the best category, because this relic does in fact increase your damage output, and it works with quite few of mainstream meta champions, because the most important thing, as I always keep saying, is any and all relics can only be as good as the champions that they equip, which is primary reason why Wolverine Relic is lower than Storm and Gambit, because Wolverine Relic is designed primarily for champions people hardly use in any competitive scenarios. And when it comes to Black Panther Relic, it's kind of the opposite, because vast majority of the targets that you want to use on champions, are quite high up. Like we have in meta tier, we have Mallman, Shang-Chi, and obviously Kingpin and Hitmonkey and the rest of the guys. So I do think that Black Panther Relic deserves to be up there because it's very easy to benefit. You do not need to do anything extra. You just need to fight, and you'll just be doing more damage throughout the fight. So there we go. Black Panther Relic is up there. I think it's a very, very good relic because it helps very strong and powerful champions, and definitely worth investing in it as well, especially if you get Black Panther Relic Awakened, then your guaranteed crit champions can go absolutely crazy. That is it for this video. As I said, I'm going to be trying to push out these more frequently so we can move on through the list of the relics and then finish the spreadsheet kind of properly, and then we kind of can go in more nuanced videos about these relics specifically. So I hope you guys find these useful, and if you do, hit that like button because I will catch you guys soon. Bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about